Well, we made it, gang. This is it. Our last community call of the year, Wednesday, December 20th, 2023.
It is, and you slipped that in there like a by the by, but we should probably highlight it, especially and smart
Yes,
to do it at the top of the recording, at the top of the call,
that's
because
right.
it's just 1 minute after the hour here, so we've started the call right on time. Um, and to call it, we are going to. I don't think we're going to have a call next week. I think we are skipping next week for the holidays and general lack of interest. No, not lack of interest. For the mental health of everybody, we suggest everybody, go see your loved ones, whether
You're
you
all
are
going to
celebrating
be
or not.
too hungover on eggnog and fruitcake and all that good stuff. If you're,
You ever made eggnog like the sorry, we might be getting off track a little early here. I made eggnog one year, and if you put enough alcohol in, even if there's like a fair amount of salmonella in the eggs that you're using for eggnog, if you put enough liquor in there and leave it sit for a few weeks, it kills everything. So
I'm going to give you another tip. That works
yeah.
for everything.
Oh, that's how you sterilize your life?
Yes, sir. That's how
Yeah,
I'm making it day by day.
That's how
Just-
you keep your health. That's what you gotta, you kill the bacteria, you keep your health.
Yeah. Do you guys? Oh, okay. We're gonna go off track again real quick. I was. Do you guys in Canada? Do you have to refrigerate your eggs?
Yes, yeah, because ours are washed as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious about that. Yes,
But
beer was.
but they don't have to be like if you have chickens in your backyard and you go gather the eggs, excuse me, and you don't wash them, then you don't have to refrigerate them.
Yeah, because they got that membrane on them or something like that.
Yeah, there's some kind of nonsense like that. I don't know. What do I look like, a scientist? I am
So I've been
literally
told.
a cartoon robot, my friend. I don't know why you would ask me these questions.
All right.
Yeah, let's get her back on track and jump over onto the agenda, which, as we've said, is pretty light today.
Yeah.
So let's, I don't know. Should we get, yeah? Let's start with f of x.
F of
And
X.
this is such a conundrum because f of x is having this like very, very exciting, huge yield farming event. I'm gonna check it today because I wanted to see. The last that I saw, we were like triple digits. I think we're still close. Yes, we are still close. The new rebalance pools have been deployed. And so we talked about this last week. We've got new rebalance pools that we had to redeploy them in order to add in some features that were not present in the old one for technical reasons that we do not really care about right now. But the important thing is that as part of the transition into the new and improved rebalance pools, we're doing this big farming event, and that is putting the effective APR of these two pools both over 90%.
Yeah.
Amazing.
In fact, I just
on
retweeted
a stable coin.
Yeah,
guys.
I just retweeted our tweet here for the promotion here so that we can keep folks aware of it because it's
Exactly.
been...
And get it there, and there's still actually a fair bit of capital in the old rebalance pool. So there's like 3.3 million in the old rebalance pool. Now the old rebalance pool is still paying yield in staked ETH, and the yield of the old rebalance pool is at 12%. And I just wanted to clarify for everybody, basically the rebalance pool yields are vested over a week. So as new harvests happen of the underlying yields of the reserve, then those staked ETH flow into the rebalance pool, but they're vested over a week. And that's for all of the usual old reasons. We don't want people to be able to time the harvest and take a big share and then like just play all those kind of silly games. Because people, K-Mets, people are terrible and they would do that for sure.
Well, yeah.
So what we do is we vest it over weeks. So what's happening now is that all of the new incentives are flowing to the new rebalance pool, and so as the old rebalance pool is going to naturally wind down over a week as it doesn't get any new inflow of that staked ETH yield, but right now, the staked ETH yield is small potatoes compared to the farming event yield, and so as the staked ETH yield ramps up in the new rebalance pool side, that'll eventually take over. And then once the farming event is over, basically everything will have migrated over to the new side.
Pretty cool. Yeah,
It
looks
is.
like and what's surprising, we were talking about this kind of internally, is which pool would get more attention, and it's kind of surprising because it's pretty even, and it just kind of shows you like sort of like the maybe it's just the market or whatever, but like sort of like how people view these in terms of their overall risk profile, because XETH, rebalancing into XETH from the depositor's point of view is a little bit more risky than depositing into the stETH one.
Absolutely. Well, and this is fascinating to me. So, guys, I assume that you kind of get this, but the way that these work, when you've got these two separate rebalance pools, is that they are incentivized separately. Like you basically decide the allocation that goes to each rebalance pool, and then that amount of that fraction of the revenue is for staked ETH, and then for the FXN, like that total number of FXN is just basically it goes to whoever is in that rebalance pool. But the question is, like, once you set the total amount of incentives, then basically the deposits come in, and the theory is that people will continue to deposit in that pool and like dilute the yield until the yield gets low enough that they don't feel it's worth it anymore. And so each of those pools will have potentially a different equilibrium, right? Like a different APR where people feel like less than that APR is not worth it to be in that pool anymore. And so when you assign those incentives up front, and then after the dust all settles and the efficient market has done its thing, we, the protocol, learn how much liquidity in each one of those pools will cost us, right? By the market telling us how much APR they demand. So people don't deposit anymore once the APR is too low for them, right? And so we have to kind of play this game, is that we have to play this game where we first of all, we have to figure out how much the market demands for liquidity in each pool, and then we have to allocate the funds, the incentive funds, based on how much liquidity we want to buy at each price. If that kind of makes sense. We were talking about this, like Kaymet said, we were talking about it beforehand, and I was convinced that at the time that the XETH pool was going to be like a niche product, right? Like that most people would be wanting to sit in the rebalance pool and potentially be redeemed for staked ETH instead of XETH. Being redeemed for XETH in the rebalance pool is, like, to me, it's a very specific strategy, and it's an aggressive strategy. But like a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people ask, like, oh, I want to be able to buy XETH when it's at its highest leverage, and like this XETH rebalance pool, you may never get redeemed into XETH, of course, right? But if we ever enter stability mode, then you're automatically buying this XETH when it is at, like, by definition, when it's at its highest leverage. But I don't know, maybe I'm just too financially conservative at heart, because I thought it would be more niche than that, but it is just about exactly 50%.
Yeah, I think I think because we are in such a bull market, and because we really haven't had any large scale other than OKX farming opportunities for FXN, I think that this is just
that's the bigger factor. That's the bigger factor right now.
The bigger factor is everyone's like, if number goes down, whatever, you feel like it's for whatever reason, like, it doesn't bother you if it gets minted into XETH or stETH or whatever, and you're just like, I just want them tokens, baby.
Yeah, so, you could very well be right that basically the fact that we decided off the top to go 50-50 on incentives, maybe it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy in that case, right? Where the TVL has spread between them because the main reason people are farming is to get the FXN, as opposed to being too concerned about the redemption side.
That's my sort of viewpoint on it, but there's $2.5 million that have other opinions, maybe, I don't know. So
well, maybe. And then CryptoVestor, yes, the answer to your question is XETH better for the protocol too. It is massively better, massively better for the protocol. Like, when you are in FETH, and then you redeem to staked ETH, and then you mint XETH, you are like the effective change of the protocol's collateralization ratio is like 3 orders of magnitude bigger than just the staked ETH redemption, right?
Yes, actually, the most the thing that's best for the protocol is to actually directly send me your FXN tokens that you get. Then I can
Take
custody
care of
those
them
for you.
The thing
Yes.
about your FXN tokens, and I can tell you about this, there's a light on one side that won't light just right. So if you send them to me, I'll take them back to my workshop and I'll fix them up there, and I'll bring them back here.
Yeah, it's a bit of a long wait time, isn't it? Though it's yeah.
Well, I got a backlog there, but
Of course, yes.
but
yeah, no, these rebalance
did
pools,
you
man.
Did you expect a The Grinch cartoon reference in the community call today?
I did not, but there's no reason why I should not have. So
no, you shouldn't have. I'm just trying to find out what the year of that TV special. 1966. 1966.
I was going to guess the 60s or something like that.
Yeah, 1966. So that's, boy, we're reaching deep for our bullshit today.
Yeah, I was yesterday. I was looking for like a surprise gift or something like that, and I was like, "Oh, I wonder if they have like a Gomer Pyle surprise gift." And it was like, "No Gomer Pyle surprise, surprise, surprise." And I was like, kind of disappointed. I was like, "Oh, I've really dated myself here."
Yeah, I think the Venn diagram of people who would like immediately recognize a Gomer Pyle reference and people who are capable of creating a GIF or likely to view one. I think that's a pretty small overlap there.
Yeah, there's a lot of areas in my life that don't translate to other areas of my life.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, there he is. There's your dish. There it is.
Yeah, there's the disruption that was. Oh boy. So I apologize to everybody in advance. You are going to get to hear my dog sing the song of his people, and I'll try to mute it.
Santa Claus.
He's excited for. His brain really does not function correctly, if at all.
We all have these moments where we act like your puppy dog, where we just go into sort of panic mode and there's no real reason for it.
Yeah, would we cut like a dozen times a day for you too, or just?
No, not that much. I'm
okay. I guess it's yeah. I mean, I guess it's different for everybody. Yeah, and it's not going to get better from here on out, but that's fine. I'm gonna keep my mute button handy, and I'm just gonna jump back and forth here, and we'll see how it goes. What were we talking about? We were talking about the new rebalance pools. Everybody online knows what they are, but just to be clear, like when the protocol goes into stability mode, though the funds that you leave in the rebalance pool might get swapped, redeemed for either staked ETH or XETH, depending on which rebalance pool that you choose. And what's interesting, did you guys see the Prisma tweet this week? So internally, we've been talking about this a fair bit, which is the idea of Go ahead.
No. It was the tweet you're referring to was in regards to SMKUSD.
Yes, exactly. They're like tokenizing their stability pool, and the reason that like tokenizing stability pools is tricky, and it's not necessarily what you want for everybody. But the idea is, once you've redeemed for that underlying, do you want to jump immediately into something like? So, like the principal question is, when you are earning yield in that rebalance pool, are you there because you really want to earn yield and you want to stay your capital to stay exposed at exactly $1 or for them, or like the price of FETH for us, or is the idea that you're actually there specifically to scoop up that reserve money, like what we would call bottom fishing, right? So to me, I think some of the like I would think most of the people who are farming that are there for the yield, and they don't necessarily want exposure to the reserve token, like to ETH, right? They'd rather keep their $1, whereas some people are there because they actually want to scoop up that ETH from the reserve opportunistically, right? And in a way, our two rebalance pools kind of reflect that, where you've got like the XETH redemption, which is like an even more amplified version of bottom fishing, of scooping up that leverage ETH once things come over into more highly leveraged. Anyway, we've been talking about this internally a lot, and it's definitely like I really like the idea of a way to farm the rebalance pool that has some kind of a chute that, once you get redeemed, you jump over into something else that's worth $1. So you can kind of like or whatever, like something else that is stable. And so you can kind of choose not to take that exposure, but that's something that can definitely be done at the at the sort of the community vault level, right? Like you can create that as a layer on top, and it looks like Cyril might be the person to talk to about that.
He's got some outside alpha, it sounds like.
Yeah, apparently. But listen, this kind of stuff, like, we definitely want to hear from you. If you like these ideas, first of all, we want these ideas floating around in the community. And second of all, if you like these ideas, if you have stuff like that you'd like to see, definitely like talk about it in the Discord, right? Because that's how we all like see. First of all, it's how we harvest new ideas, but it's also how we gauge the sort of community demand for the things that we're talking about internally. So
yeah, and just it's interesting that Cyril mentioned, like, someone working on a vault, like, these are all like open source, like, the GitHub's freely available, like people can build on top of these however they want.
And composable, right? Like you don't even necessarily need the source code.
Yeah, and it's something that we've been a fairly small DAO, to begin with, and we just have the one dev team. But if folks ever wanted to just be like, what, I think it'd be cool to build XYZ or something like that, then by golly, there's not much stopping you. So
yeah, and really, like, that's kind of the magic here, and that's part of the reason why, one of the things, like, when we're talking about this kind of stuff on the team, it's never like, oh, that's a bad idea, we don't want that. It's more, does it make more sense for that to be built in at the foundation level of the protocol that we create, or does it make more sense to bring that in the community? One of the things that comes up quite often in that discussion is, like, in particular with that idea of having like a rebalance pool that redeems all the way like into some sort of stable, is that building that requires a certain level of permissionedness, or how do I put it? So essentially, you basically have to know exactly when the redemption has happened, and at exactly that moment you have to do like the further on work of swapping all the way into a stable, and you have to choose which stable you want to swap into. And like, do you go? So there's a lot of questions. First of all, there's the question of how do you do it in a timely manner, and it's tough to do that. It's tough to do that in the crypto world without having like a keeper that you're running that is checking like down to the second all the time. And when you introduce that kind of in order for the system to work correctly, it requires us on a centralized server to be constantly pinging this keeper, because you just can't rely on the speed in all conditions, at the by just making it like a permissionless keeper. You can't rely on it to happen fast enough. That's where that instability is just not necessarily right to introduce at the level like built into the token, but it makes a lot of sense for like a first layer vault.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You can't swap back to FETH at the moment of redemption. And so you have to choose where you're going to swap at that point. And of course, that's going to where you swap depends on liquidity available, and so like slippage for that reason, as well as your personal opinion. Like I can imagine somebody building a vault which automatically takes the redeemed ETH from your like rebalance pool redemption and dumps it in USDT. Maybe that feels good to you, but like we would never want to incorporate that at the foundational level, because that becomes a centralized risk vector, right? And that's the kind of the whole story of FFX, is to avoid those. So people will have different personal approaches there, and you could basically you spin up, in theory you can spin up a vault for every preference.
The joy of composable DeFi. So, yeah.
Exactly. Well, and so like it's a big for us. It's a question of like these ideas are like we definitely want to talk about them and we want to entertain integrating as many that as makes sense at the foundational level, but we also just need to grow the protocol and get the word out there so that as the TVL grows and as the liquidity deepens, all of these kinds of vaults become that much more viable. And for us, it's all about growth, right?
Yeah. Well, growth and making sure that the protocol is safe and stable, right?
Well,
it does
exactly,
what it's
and that's
supposed to do.
exactly. And so for me, like, exactly. I mean, to me, those two go hand in hand. But like, as long as we get that liquidity that allows those second layer things to be built that maybe that don't belong at the foundational level, then you get that functionality without having to compromise any of the decisions at that on like bulletproofness and stability and at that foundational level. It's all kind of goes together.
It's all part of the plan. Yep.
All part of the plan. Anyway, back to the rebalance pools and this interesting equal APR. I think that I'm going to be very interested to watch these evolve over time. And then once the farming event is over, we're going to transition back to. So I think the idea, and don't quote me on this because we'll have to confirm when the time comes. I think the idea is that we're hoping to plan out some FXN emissions coming maybe soon after the farming event is over. The first of the liquidity mining for FXN, which would also mean gauge voting, which would also mean that basically like having that FXN flowing into those rebalance pools regularly as part of liquidity mining, and then being able to change the incentives into those rebalance pools by changing their gauge weights.
Yeah, that's I think that's probably going to be a little while out, but but that's definitely doable. Yeah.
Well, and it's
Cool.
all this is all the direction we're going in, and particularly with respect to and CryptoVestor says the magic word
FXUSD.
with respect to FXUSD. We are that once that's in the wild, and we've got maybe a plethora of rebalance pools, and we've got maybe even FXN wars where people are fighting for emissions to their favorite rebalance pool. That's going to be a really big factor in how those APRs develop. But ideally, or ultimately, the APR is going to develop based on how many people deposit. Like no matter how much incentive you dump into a pool, it will be theoretically, again, efficient market. It will be diluted to the point where it's the correct price for liquidity there, right?
Yeah, well, it's for all of them, really, and exactly. It's what the market decides. Yep, I'll put a token in there for that. So
yeah, exactly.
And
so I'm really keen to see how the APRs stabilize between the XETH redemption and the staked ETH redemption.
Yeah, and that actually like kind of speaks to why like CRV USD interest rates spiked, right?
Yeah.
Because and same thing with like liquidities, troves, going to almost liquidating people at 300%
redeeming. To be
redeeming
fair, redeeming, not liquidating.
Yeah.
There's a difference, but yeah, it's the more we get to watch this stuff, the more we kind of understand collectively how these mechanics are going to work and how like TradFi interest rates are going to affect the stablecoin world. And if you learn from it and you incorporate that in, build it in at the base level, then sooner or later, well, every step gets you more resilient, doesn't it?
I hope so.
That's the idea.
But yeah, FXUSD, and that's kind of what we're calling it, is FXUSD, because FUSD, it kind of doesn't make sense. It's not a fractionalized dollar, right?
No.
Kind of like the other naming conventions.
No.
So
I mean,
like
one is a fraction. 1 out of 1 is a fraction. But
you are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
The best kind of correct. Yeah, that's I'm channeling my children now. This is a game they love to play. And but no, I think just for clarity, it makes more sense to call it FXUSD. And obviously, you know, we've just kind of this is the teams kind of where we've sort of settled. But if anybody has a strong opinion one way or the other, please do chime in and let us know. But it becomes, you know, especially with this plan that we're sort of converging on, which is having one single liquid USD stablecoin from f(x) in the wild, then that makes a lot of sense. It's the f(x) stablecoin. It's the FX stablecoin. Yes, agreed, CryptoVestor. It does blend in. So hopefully FXUSD is sufficiently, you know, accurate as well as differentiated that we can kind of ride it.
Yeah, and it doesn't cause any confusion or anything like that. So FXUSD.
Yeah, and again, all of this works to me. It all works because we have this mechanism that we've kind of cooked up and talked with the community about and iterated towards, where we're going to ensure that all of the liquid USD pegged coins from f(x) are all that one same denomination, right? Like for a long time when we were talking about the two asset system, we were kind of assuming that every single pair would create its own separate USD pegged stablecoin. And in that case, you can't call any one FXUSD because now you've got, you know, you've got many, and how do you pick the one that's the big one? So by having this system of combining them all and having one single sort of God token that comes out of f(x), there's lots of different places to farm internally on the earning side, right? Having the $1 exposure and earning in these rebalance pools. But as soon as you come out of those rebalance pools and into the world, and you know, and that's most likely not going to happen until there's more utility and composability for FXUSD. But once you get there, there's only one token name that you need to know.
Yep. So what are we doing with the X tokens? That's a good question.
That is a good question. Right now, the plan is that we will have the sort of multitude of X tokens. We are still talking internally if there's a better way to kind of position that, and we're obviously very much open to people's ideas.
Cyril, start up another vault, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, seriously. Well, and it's when you have these different X tokens with this different kind of leverage, you do run the risk of if you have a group of people, but not all people, who are depositing into the X side through a wrapper, like through like an ETF style wrapper that contains everything, but it's still possible to deposit into the individual ones, even if you do it directly through the contract. In that situation, it's really easy for the people who are depositing into the individual X vaults to kind of like, I'd say like front run or like manipulate. But basically, so one of the things that we've seen, and I think we kind of all understand how this works with f(x), is that because the X token, the XETH, for example, we'll talk about, because XETH, the leverage changes. When you deposit some like dollar value into XETH, that changes on a moment-to-moment basis by whatever the current leverage is, or by whatever the current collateralization ratio of the protocol is. So if the effective leverage is high, then the net asset value moves quickly. And if the effective leverage is low, then the net asset value moves slowly. So if the effective leverage happens to be high during a price drop and then low during a price recovery, you can recover ETH to the same entry price, but the NAV is still lower. It's not where it would have been if it had been at a fixed leverage that whole time. And so there's ways to sort of, I don't say manipulate, but there's ways to play moving assets between individual XETH tokens that would kind of, I believe there's ways that you could do to kind of rug the people in the ETF.
Yeah, so Linero asked, is there a withdrawal period? And the answer is no. It's
no
totally liquid.
No Mo. That was a huge update that rolled out recently, which by the way, I don't know, maybe we should recommend to boosters that we circle back and highlight that a little bit. I don't know how much people realize there was a withdrawal period in the first place, but definitely if the goal is getting the rebalance pool to being like foundational and composable, if possible later, it needs to be liquid and
So I think the claim button there is for the FXN tokens that you get, the withdrawals and the rewards that you earn. Yeah.
Yeah, and also no, and I think that what changed. So until these new pools launched, you did have to first withdraw and then claim in 2 separate transactions, because there used to be that withdrawal period. You could do them right back to back. But I believe with the new rebalance pools, that is no longer the case, and it is a single button to pull FETH out. But don't quote me on that.
TVL for FXUSD, I don't know, $1 billion, $2 billion.
I mean, 1 billion? That's kind of low, isn't it?
My anticipation is FX protocol should easily capture 1% of STETH. That's which is like 92,000 ETH. That's my.
Well, I was thinking like 150%, because we're going to be onboarding all these other LSDs as well. So I figured eventually we'll have all the staked ETH as well as a good chunk of everything else. But
So FX protocol will wind up being the existential threat to the Ethereum consensus mechanism instead of Steve Lido.
Well, no, the good news is that we actually are not in a position to ever be that, because we are not validating. And in fact, one fine day in the future, we would be in a position to be the counterbalance to that existential threat, right?
Yeah, I think that's actually like a really good point to bring up, because a lot of people are actually bringing that up with like EigenLayer. That I've seen is basically because EigenLayer has this ability to sort of like incentivize these various LSDs, and so that's kind of like something interesting as well that I've always kind of thought of with FX is we, because of the incentivization, the gauging of the rebalance pools, you can actually the community, or whoever at large can actually incentivize that to basically, if we all feel like I don't know whoever's a smaller player in the LSD, FraxETH, whatever, we're all just like send all the FXN tokens there, then by golly, there it goes. And so
if the Ethereum Foundation is listening right now, this
God
is a great. I mean, listen, when there's $1 trillion locked in FFX and there's that much sort of liquidity sloshing around on the back end, absolutely, the rebalance pool incentivization will change which of the basically the rebalance pool incentives change how big each of the reserves are behind for the sake of argument, let's just say for FXUSD. Because FETH is also we could do the same thing on that side, but we've been talking about this model of multiple different pools backing a single token of FXUSD. So let's talk about that for now. When that's $1 trillion, I say when, not if, K-Meds, you see that? We have half a dozen different 2-asset pools that are feeding that FXUSD TVL, then the rebalance pool incentives that go into each one determines how big the reserve of that token is behind FXUSD. And so, if you have a vested interest in seeing the network reach maximal decentralization, then you have a vested interest in participating in the FXN war and bribing for the sort of least used of the reliable LSDs, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, DeFi advisors claiming you should get a raise, sir.
I've been saying this forever.
What?
No, kidding.
You can't be kidding. Yeah.
No, jeez.
Bah humbug, sir.
Yeah, paid in FXN is right. Jeez.
Ooh, cheapers.
Listen, this is a DAO. I thought I had community support for a big raise here, and then I got rugged.
It lasted
Rugged.
all of a good 5 seconds.
Yeah, I should have known. Just kidding. Oh, damn. DeFi advisor rugs me again. Well, not again, for the first time, but still.
Yeah. Oh, good
Cyril's
old
gonna
Cyril,
give
what
me
a
a
fella.
yeah. You know what? That's the only way that we can help each other out is booster
Please,
vote
sir.
swapping. Exactly.
Please, sir. All right.
So let's toss a coin to your booster. Can we do a toss a coin to your booster meme? Did that because that was
toss a coin to your booster.
Did anybody actually watch that show? Because I feel like I watched one episode and then didn't.
I watched like one season, and it was I can't get into fantasy too hard.
Oh yeah.
I'm a weirdo when it comes to crypto. I'm not really into sci-fi very much. I'm not really into fantasy or video games. I'm pretty square. Yeah.
Yeah. What a weirdo.
I'm odd.
I mean, I feel like we could fix you. I feel like we could help you a little bit because there's some good stuff there that you're missing.
Like the
out
$6
on,
million
but...
man, we can fix him. We can build him.
Yeah, we can build him better than before. Exactly. Yeah. Well, listen,
it was an inevitability.
He might be LARPing. He might be LARPing. I think he's like he doesn't like any of that stuff, but he didn't point out that he's got the largest Beanie Baby collection in Texas. So he's definitely a dork in some way that he's not letting on.
Oh, no. Yes. Don't worry. I make up for it in many other ways. Many other ways. Yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
Anywho.
So we're talking about FXUSD. Listen, guys, work is furiously happening behind the scenes on that. We're going to try to keep you sort of apprised of where we're at. Obviously, with the tweaks that we've been discussing to the overall structure, it's not quite as simple as just clicking deploy on a bunch of 2 asset pools. Obviously, we need to do a little bit of homework behind the scenes. And as much as we love to like go at a breakneck speed and have everything be flow it through the Discord directly into the GitHub basically.
Mm-hmm.
We also have to make sure that we do our due diligence and our homework. The development work needs to be done carefully to make sure that the contracts will do both what we want and also are relatively future proof as we think about potential adjustments that we might want to make as they come out. And then that, of course, ignores the audit that is required. Oh, the auditors get a lot of Aladdin's community money, don't they? We love them.
Yeah,
we love them, and we rely on them. I don't want to give you the wrong impression, but also,
yeah,
man,
it costs money. It costs money.
You got to pay to play, as they say. So
very true.
Anyway, so yeah, the development is working. We are gonna, by the way, speaking of FFX and development, we're also starting, in me and probably KMETS in particular, starting to think more about messaging, about narrative, about, so we're gonna do some preliminary, work on that side. Potentially maybe we should spin up like if not a white paper, then is a light paper, Lenaro, is a light paper like a pared down white paper? Help me out here. Speaking of bullshit corporate terms that don't actually mean anything, we need to write some content. We need to write some content, is what I'm trying to say.
A yellow paper, a beige paper.
A beige paper, a grayish paper. Let's make a grayish paper. It's very hot right now. And see if we can just get an idea of sort of like how the system is meant to function because FXUSD really builds on the core mechanism of FETH and XETH, and sort of a lot of that basic idea is then sort of elaborated upon for this FXETH model. So it doesn't make sense to go back and we talked about, do we go back and like add a new section to the old white paper? I think it makes more sense to we can have all of the details in the docs, but it might make sense to write a paper that kind of summarizes everything more clearly.
Ooh, yeah. Tear sheet, if you want to go
a tear sheet. Yeah.
we'll wheel out the mimeograph and type it up on a carbon.
Yeah, that's the right idea. CryptoVestor is just like a quick, try to keep it pretty short, some diagrams, and just like the principle of how it should work, and also talk about things like risk management, how we manage the exposure to each of the different reserves in the various reserve pairs, because we want to limit the number that can be pulled out in a liquid way, right? That's how we limit our total exposure on the liquid FXUSD side without limiting the number of people who can come and farm yields from that in their rebalancing pool. So yeah, and frankly, CryptoVestor, that kind of a paper is like, it's kind of like good for pre-marketing marketing. Like basically, I want to put something together that's got all of your questions answered, so that you have it as a cheat sheet when you're going and pounding the pavement with your probably much better ability to sell it and bring the good word to the people.
That's right.
Than me. I have been told that I sometimes am not the right person for that job, and I don't know.
No.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure, but whatever. I can accept criticism, K-Mets.
No one is criticizing you at this moment, sir, other than yourself.
No. Yeah, listen, first of all, you're wrong. I can hear you criticizing me. I can hear it in your voice.
Well, now I'm getting criticized because I wasn't criticizing you? This is...
No, you were criticizing me. Now you're trying to gaslight me. All right, I think we might be getting off track. Guys,
what else?
That's f of x. I think that's enough for f of x for now. New rebalance pools, amazing, huge yields on stable coins in the holiday farming event, whichever holiday you want to celebrate, or all of them. I myself am I'm a fan of just picking every holiday from every culture and religion and claiming that it is mine and that I have to celebrate it, and trying to get days off that way. It rarely works. But
I was like, you're going to be busy, but then you just claimed you're basically just, it's like a vacation arbitrage.
Oh yeah, is 100%. Yes, exactly. That's right. But we're entering the time of year. I'm celebrating the Western holidays, and then I just got to keep them flowing.
And then he's gonna be like, "Where's Kruger? Oh, he's out for Epiphany. He doesn't."
That's
he's out for Epiphany.
Yeah, exactly. And then didn't he just finish celebrating like Ramadan? Yeah, well.
Yeah. He's very inclusive. He's very inclusive.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't there like an Orthodox church that puts Christmas Day much later too? So why not double up on the?
Orthodox Christianity celebrates it about a week later. Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Well, then that's two.
There you go.
Yeah, the without food religious event. Well, but here's the thing. I secularize every single one. And so if I just cut out the bits that I choose to to not like, and replace them with parts of other holidays that I do like. So I'm kind of a monster that way, but
he's a cafeteria
celebrant.
I don't even know what you call it. Yeah, there you go, something like that. Yeah.
I don't know if that's what that word means.
All right. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's either ultra religious or zero religious. But when I pick and choose, I combine it. Yes, exactly. I rise above.
Like comfort. It's like comfort religious or something.
That's
like
right.
That.
Yeah. I think we better get off topic before I upset somebody.
Whatever. Okay. Yeah. So
would not be the first time. Swiss religious.
Oh, jeez.
Love it.
The only other thing we really have on the agenda is the ALD tokenomics snapshot pass. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise. I was not surprised. I know you were, K-Mets, but I knew it was
I thought people wanted 1 billion tokens, but
no,
what do I know?
They want fewer tokens. The people who have the tokens now think that they're the only ones that should have the tokens, and so it passed. Guys, we're gonna roll that out. I think that the idea is to actually deploy that, because that's a contract upgrade on the token contract. I think the idea is we're going to push that out in early January, partly as a kind of a marketing thing, because it would be nice if when we make that change, we can kind of like highlight the yesterday it was this and today it's that at a time when people are paying attention. So we know it's coming, and then we kind of do the celebration and the sort of ritual of speaking of rituals, do the ritual of making the deployment, capping at 150 million tokens, and celebrating that in January when everybody's paying attention. When I believe the bull is scheduled to be in full force by then. K-Mets, is that right?
I would hope so. Okay. Here's how I guarantee the bull market is going to start ripping in January. I took out a small bet on Polymarket that the Bitcoin ETF would not pass by January 15th.
Really?
So I paid the tax, everyone.
Wow,
I did it.
Thank you. That is. Do you know what? You don't get enough credit, K-Mets.
I gamble so the rest of you can have a successful crypto.
But you don't though, really, because we've been in this situation before, and we're like, hey, let's put $200 on 100x ETH, and then I do it, and you're like, no. And then I
don't recall ever agreeing to these joint gambling ventures. But...
Well, it was an implicit agreement where you didn't immediately say no, and so then I did, and then I was immediately liquidated, and then you weren't, and suddenly retroactively it wasn't a fun team game anymore. It was just Kruger being an idiot.
Well, yeah, let me tell you, folks, Kruger does a lot of hallucinogens, and so this is where I
fill in some of the gaps when your messages aren't coming fast enough.
Oh, golly Bob. Well, hopefully
guys,
one of those 100x ETH days will hit soon. So
yeah, well, certainly not when I'm in at 100x, but it'll come.
Well, to claim it, gas will be at 1,200 Gwei or something like that.
Yeah,
be
exactly.
like, oh, damn it.
Oh man.
Oh boy.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, it's believe it or not, we have burned our whole hour. I believe it. We've burned our whole hour on 3 items on the agenda. That is K-Mets and my superpower.
Tell us about the new Clev. Well, we don't really have much Clever or concentrator stuff right now at the moment, and that's.
Wait, which new Clev stuff are you talking about, DeFi Advisor?
I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't either. Yeah, we got way overconfident on the short agenda, and frankly, to be fair. Clev ETH. No, so there's nothing at this point in time. There is just community chatter and speculation in the wild, and we don't have anything to talk about properly for that just yet. But you can A tokens on concentrator. Actually, a lot of these ideas have been sort of in the wild for quite some time, and they are very much not gone. But at this point in time, nothing to talk about in this venue about clever changes just yet. But you guys will always be the first to know. We feel bad enough about wasting your time every week as it is, and so we do. See, I told you, it's back to the top of the call.
You guys know what you signed up for when you click connect on this call.
If you've listened to one before, you've listened to all of them.
Yeah.
So we try to leak the alpha here first so that you guys have a
for sure.
You guys have a head start, little things, like making sure you know about the FXN farming event. I hope you guys online here were able to jump into that rebalance pool farming event at the very, very beginning when yields were super duper high and there was no dilution. So I hope you guys got a nice little bonus from that.
Yeah. If
you didn't, then there's no help for you because I did my best.
That's all we can do. You can just lead a horse to water. Can't make him drink, right?
You know what? That is part of our shared cultural background. That's the folksy rural sayings. I can help you with that.
That's right. I used to
gas was 200 when we deployed. Yeah, we noticed. And
there ain't nothing we could do about that, man. I tell you what, it's getting to the point now. We're getting up early on Sundays to do my DeFi claims and whatnot. Is
if I give you
make
my
much
seed
difference.
phrase, can you do mine for me too?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
That would be really great. Yeah.
not responsible for
Yeah.
if I
So
borrow some
obviously,
tokens.
obviously, I'm going to need you to give me a collateral seed phrase. But
Yes.
but that's actually, you know what? There's an idea for a crypto service right there, which is cheap permissioned cheap transaction execution with full collateralization, so you can do it without trust. Wow.
Yeah, I remember I read one time about a protocol that was like doing this thing where you made your transaction on an L2 and it like grouped them all together and went back to L1 and made all the transactions for you. And I was like, that is such a cool idea.
ZK Sync was doing that. ZK Sync Lite, I think, was doing that.
Where are they?
And Gashawk, yeah, Linearis' Gashawk is, and Gashawk, I played around with that a little bit, but it's definitely on my list of. You know what I did is I made a rookie mistake. I put in a transaction for it to run overnight, and then I was doing something else, and I keyed a transaction for it to do. I put in a transaction immediately, and then of course the nonce was burned by that one I did immediately, and then the overnight one failed. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cyril saying like Nimbora apparently does that from Starknet.
From Starknet to Liquidity mainnet. And they are aware of FFX. Why do I have a feeling that they're aware of FFX? Because of your hard work, Cyril. Man,
no doubt.
There's nobody in the community who does a better job of like DAO to DAO connecting and pounding pavement for these partnerships than Cyril. He is, man. If you're gonna toss a coin to your booster, he should be top of your list.
He is top of the list, man. He's making whenever my dad's like, well, you got to get out and hit the pavement and wear out some shoe leather and all that jazz. It's like, well, we can't all be Cyril, Dad. So
yeah, Dad. God, you're always comparing me to Cyril. I'm not Cyril, Dad.
Oh boy.
Oh well, Cyril's got some cooking, DeFi Advisor. If you want the inside alpha partnerships, you got to ping that guy.
Yeah. All right. That's right.
Yeah.
I've got. I used the other old timey phrase, or maybe it's just a real one that I was thinking of the other day that like kind of cracked me up. Was I used to have a survey professor who used to say when something was like really tall or really high, he'd call it asshole high to a giraffe. Oh, I love that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's not really. I don't know if it's rural or folksy because it's
just
anyway,
goofy.
It's a good one. It's a good one. Yeah, they're just listen. I mean, we can and should devote an entire community call to thinking of to remembering hilarious phrases used by people in our youth.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go dig up my list now.
Worthwhile. You get some when you come from those rural spots, they get pretty off color pretty quick. But I feel like there are a few that are that still kind of work. So the April 1st community call is a great time for that. Actually, we should load up we should plan a community call in April, and we should like post a serious agenda, and we should then just do none of it. Just absolutely do not one single like actual thing, and then wind up the community call and shut it down, and not even mention we skipped the whole agenda until the following week.
Why wait till April for that?
I was gonna say, I feel like we've done that several times already.
No, because we always at least acknowledge the fact that we're wasting everybody's time, and we usually do get to a couple of agenda items. Now, those agenda items might take 45 minutes, but
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Just be like yeah, exactly. DeFi Advisor, Camus, we've been in a few different community calls now, and we aim to make ours entertaining and kind of nonsensical. I'm not sure every DAO does that. I think community calls are a little bit more.
There's got to be like lawyers listening to their calls or something like that.
Suit and briefcase kind. That's not really our strategy.
We're definitely the embodiment of permissionless.
Yeah, that's right. Now I am wearing a tuxedo today because I do every day. That's my standard. That's what I wear around the house. But I try not to speak in a way that would imply that I'm doing that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's important to hide the alpha. That's kind of like a crypto. Not that I particularly love this part of crypto, but there's a lot of like important alpha hidden in just like crass and gross whatever tweets.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so that's I feel like that's part of the like in-group out-group thing that the old guard crypto try to maintain. It won't last. But in the meantime, we can do our own little part of that by making very unserious calls about very serious products.
Why not? We're in DeFi. It's supposed to be fun, right? We're having fun. We're having a good time.
Exactly. That's where I'm here.
Blessed.
That's why I'm here.
That's well, I'm down quite a bit, but I'm still having fun. I tell myself I'm still having fun.
He says as he wipes a tear away from his eye.
Still having fun.
Cue the Pedro.
Oh boy. All right. Well, should we wind it up?
Let's do it.
Let's
do it.
Yeah, there you go. Oh boy. All
Guys,
right,
we
gang.
love you. Thanks for coming, and have a great holiday. We are doing this next week. We're taking the week off. Check out in Discord. By the way, there will be people in Discord if you're hanging around. It may or may not be us, but this is a very much a community, and so there are generally people hanging around in the Discord, and you might get a chance to, I don't know, talk to somebody on the other side of the world. If half the world's asleep and you're not, then come hang out.
It's how our global Aladdin family works, right?
That's right.
Exactly.
That is right.
All right. Well, everybody have a good holiday season and Happy New Year if we don't talk to you till then. And have a good rest of your week.
Have a great one. Charlene couldn't make it today. She sends her love to everybody. Have a great week. A great 2 weeks. Great rest of your year. Great holidays. Everything. See you next time.
That's right. All right.
Peace.
See you guys.
Yep.
Bye.
Happy holidays, guys. Bye.
Thank you.